Hey, Pandroids, welcome back to the weekly stack. The rules are it's going through the stack of comics I buy each week at House of Secrets in Burbank, California. And it is this simple. Some of them I do read like in the day or two after going to the comic shop. And that is because either they're number ones or I've caught up with the series. And that's the confession. I haven't caught up with everything. And so then on the weekends, I try to catch up through other stacks. And I may be getting overwhelmed, but I'm trying this anyway. First off, if you have not done so already, and are interested, please go to the Kickstarter page for Horror, Not Hate, which is an upcoming horror comics anthology and art book that will benefit uh, civil rights groups and the need for it now more than ever. And yes, I am represented in this book. I have a short story in collaboration with the great artist Rafael Navarro called Ladies' Night at the Saddle Rack. And I hope that you do back this book when it goes live on Kickstarter and that you enjoy. Anyway, to the books this week. Once again, from House of Secrets. This is a large DC and Marvel week for me where I'm caught up or it's number ones because we're in the midst of an event. Okay, so I've got it spread out. First book up is DCKO Superman versus Captain Atom, number one. So it's kind of a roll off of DCKO number two. And this is all fight month. So we're going to see a lot of these video game confrontations. And I mean it. These are video game confrontations. This is by Joshua Williamson. Sean Izaakse is on the art. I'm not particularly familiar with this artist, but I kind of like the work. It's pretty solid. Trish Mulvihill and Hi-Fi are the colors. Dave Sharp is the letterer. And anyway, this, like I said, goes off of DCKO because there's a revelation at the end that plays off of that. I'm confused. But Superman and Captain Atom fight. And I think this does a clearer job for me, or at least the way I've been going through this, to make it clear like it's you have best 2 out of 3. You can choose your form. So there's going through the history of Captain Atom, who you might not be as familiar with as you are with Superman. And his really best period, I think, were the 80s with the Pat Broderick art. And it's kind of floundered a little bit since. And yeah, anyway, so we see different forms of Superman, we see different forms of Captain Atom, and I would love to play this video game, which I'm going to take a little sidestep here for DC Worlds Collide. And I just had, as always, my continuity brain or my power set brain gets in my way, but there we go. In what world is Wonder Woman going to be vulnerable to pistol fire? Okay. And in what world is Batman not tactical? Okay, there is my rant. Anyway, so this one's pretty enjoyable for what it is. I'm not as thrilled with just these fights. Like I say, it'd be a great video game. And I also understand that video game development takes a lot longer. So it's kind of a shame that this is like Injustice. That after Injustice came out as a game and was successful, then they did a comic book series. I'd like to see maybe in a couple of years, and maybe they're developing this. I just don't know what Warner Brothers' strategy for video games is right now, because I don't think Warner Brothers knows if they're Warner Brothers today. Yeah. Anyway, so hopefully we'll get a DCKO. That would be fun. I'm not as having quite as much fun with it, right now, which I'm just going to roll over to the other one that I caught up with, the KO Night Fight, which is a 4-issue Batman versus Batman thing, which also clarifies another thing. Joshua Williamson is the writer. Dan Mora is the artist, and I love Dan's art. Triona Farrell is colors, and Tom Napolitano is letters. And again, what this clarifies is if you die in these fights, which of course you're going to. That's kind of what happens at the end of. Sorry, no spoiler. DCKO, eliminates. It's a tournament, and they eliminate, and they're dying as they're going for King Omega, but then they show up someplace else. Or in this case, Bruce Wayne, Batman says he may have cheated somehow against the Heart of Darkseid and a Heart of Apocalypse. I'm sorry, not the Heart of Darkseid. And this puts him in alternate universes, which in the first issue I was like, wait a minute, we're not supposed to be in the multiverse anymore. That's been a very clear point in Justice League Unlimited, that they are cut off from the multiverse, and this actually explains how Batman could have shown up on an alternate future and then into another alternate future. And I won't spoil that. I actually am enjoying I enjoyed issue 2 more than I enjoyed issue number 1. So, okay, glad I gave it a shot, and it's a little better. My personal rule also is I tend to give a new book 3 issues before I decide, am I going to cut bait? So there we go. How about a one shot? Love this. Ultimate Universe, 2 years in, as we're going over to Marvel, and this one is many people, and it is with the Ultimate Guardians of the Galaxy, which are a confusing team, but kind of cool. It's Dennis Camp and Alex Paknadel, writers, artists, many. Patrick Boutin, Phil Noto, who I absolutely love, Francesco Manna, Lee Ferguson, and Javier Pulido. Sorry about that stumble, sir. And color artists are Federico Blee, Phil Noto, Guru EFX, Eric Arciniega, and Javier Pulido, I guess coloring himself. Cool. Letter is VC's Travis Lanham, and Ryan Stegman and Frank Martin did the main cover. And there are alternates, but variant covers, but I didn't get them. So anyway, like I said, this is pretty cosmic and far future, and it reads a lot like, I feel almost like a Grant Morrison story, where I feel like I got to read this a couple times through to really understand what's going on. But I like the view, and I like the concept of the far future Guardians of the Galaxy in the Ultimate Universe have a ship that runs on hope. And that was a really cool concept. So anyway, I love these alternate takes on characters. Some are recognizably connected to some we know, and some are not. And that's what I want in a big, weird side quest epic. So good with that. And that is the one. I'm sorry. There is one more. And that is, Batman number 4. Now, I know I run the risk of getting repetitive doing this for a month or 5 weeks. And so a couple of titles shown up again. And so I'm caught up, and I'm going to stay caught up, I think, with this. Matt Fraction is the writer. Jorge Jimenez is the artist and cover. Tomeo Mori is colors. Clayton Cowles with Jorge Jimenez on letters. Please, by the way, again, if I am mispronouncing anybody's name and you know it, politely let me know, and I will correct my pronunciation. Because I realized previously I was talking about Chip Zdarsky, and I don't know if this actually pronounced Zdarsky. I've never heard anybody say his name out loud. It might be Chip Zdarsky. I don't know. So anyway, this issue is called Drop the Smoke. I thought I was kind of done with mainstream Batman books, but I'm enjoying this one because Matt Fraction did the right thing. Like 3 issues in which is kind of familiar territory, but setting out what the new status quo is, and then introducing a new villain called the Minotaur. And this is similar to me in terms of like the absolute Batman universe, because it's, getting the idea that in Gotham, there is one power kind of moving in and organizing. And I know we've seen versions of that, like the Court of Owls is kind of, but one guy applying business school tactics is kind of creepy and kind of too close to reality. And I like it. So I won't belabor that. Ultimate X-Men number 22, Peach Momoko. I've talked about this before. And just loving that it is kind of J-horror. I haven't read it yet, but interesting. There's a script adaptation, Zach Davison. I hadn't really noticed that because I was so focused on Peach Momoko. But I'm sure that means, like, are they working from plot? And then Zach Davison, puts in dialogue. I don't know. I'd like to know. VC's Travis Lanham is the letterer. And I just, again, dig this book because it kind of feels like a little bit of J horror. Again, in the second year of this, it's become more connected to what the rest of the Ultimate Universe is. And that's okay. I understood that was going to happen. Doctor Who, The Prison Paradox #2 from Titan Comics. That's by Dan Waters, Sami Cavella, Valentino Bianconi, and Comic Craft doing the lettering. I didn't read #1, but again, I enjoy this Doctor, and if this is the only way I can get it right now, I'm going to do it. Okay, still have not actually caught up with this one, but Cheetah and Cheshire Rob the Justice League by Greg Rucka, writer Nicholas Scott, artist, great. Annette Kwok on colors and Troy Puteri on lettering, and this is fun. I would again like to say, yes, I am not caught up, but I've enjoyed the 3 issues that I've read so far, and this is issue #5. So I'm only 2 behind. I do want to say this is, again, one of those where I'm a little bothered that I really had to dig to find the credits. Can we have some kind of consistency? Because these comics are not happening without the creators. And I mean, all of them, lettering, colors, inkers, in this case, Nicholas Scott, I believe, inks herself, and of course the writer. So, or script adapter, as we just said with Ultimate X-Men. So, please, can we have some consistency, or put it on the cover, put full names on the cover, because you might want to know. Last one this week, light week for me. JSA Year 1. This is Jeff Lemire is the writer, artist Gavin Guidry, colors Luis Guerrero, and letters Steve Wands. And I mentioned before, I'm a sucker for these. I love the JSA in their original context, and I realize that the various realities do mean that it has to change from time to time. So, or how they all got together. I've probably read 5 or 6 different origins of the JSA, and I want to know how it fits with each one. So, enjoying that. Like I said, don't want to belabor, but there we go. So, light week because for one thing, with all the kerfuffle on how you order books and for your pull list, etc., this is a month where I accidentally missed the deadline. So they're at House of Secrets are pulling the books they think I want, which I really appreciate. And this is why it's great to have a regular comic shop that the manager knows and has a sense of your taste. And I think they're doing a pretty good job. As I went through, there didn't seem to be that many things from, or actually none from, Image that I'd be aware of, or Dark Horse this week. I mean, there's plenty in general, but I didn't see this week. So it was, man, almost all Marvel and DC. No, Titan, because there was Doctor Who. So this is what it is. Once again, a call for Kickstarter for horror, not hate. And thank you so much for paying attention to these. And let me know again what you're reading, what I'm not reading that I should be, as I'm starting to put together my year-end 10 great books, which is not the best comics out there this year, because I haven't read them all. I just saw someone complaining about Goodreads top books of the year for different genres, and I'm like, it's still dependent on votes, and just because I don't read the book you love doesn't minimize that book, really. At least I don't think so. So anyway, let me know and suggest things. I've got a little time, and I will have a week off after Christmas that I can actually catch up, and boy, am I looking forward to that. So in the meantime, till next time, I look forward to seeing you, and use your powers for good.